Hello and welcome everyone. We're pleased and excited to have everybody be part of our first live Blue Courage webinar. Again, I'm Howard Powers and I'm part of that Blue Courage team. We thank you all for participating and hopefully and trust that this will be both enjoyable and meaningful to you. Our topic today is inspiring present moment awareness. And joining me today are two of our notable master trainers. First is Chisa Miller, and Chisa is a true master trainer in her own right, and among her many chores and responsibilities, she's a key component of our Blue Courage Inclusive Leadership Program, and she'll be leading us off, followed by Dan Schmer. Dan, along with Michael Neela, was one of the founding fathers of our Blue Courage program, and he leads and trains our law enforcement nationwide. So to get us going, I'm going to turn it over to Chisa. So Chisa, it's all yours.
Thank you, Howard. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. I wanted to start this just by introducing a simple fundamental principle, really of humanness. If you have gone through inclusive leadership or if you have gone through Blue Courage, this will be a reminder to you. But if you haven't, this might be the first time that you hear it, but it's something that we're all very passionate about. So, just thinking about the times that we're in right now, it seems almost surreal, everything that's going on. And so we thought that this was very important. So if we were in the Northern Natal tribes of South Africa, instead of greeting each other by saying hello, we would greet each other by saying sawubona. And sawubona means I see you. Essentially, I see the human being that is in front of me. I see you, and I'm bringing you into existence. And the response to sawubona is sikona. And sikona means I am here. So sawubona, I see you. And sikona, I am here. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for bringing me into existence. So, just think about how important that can potentially be right now with everything that is going on. I think back to before all of this was going on, and I always use the example of a crowded elevator. What happens when everybody gets into a crowded elevator? Most of us count the numbers based on the, floors that we're going up, or we all get on our cell phones nowadays. It's rare that somebody gets on a crowded elevator and just simply says hello. And what's almost a little refreshing right now is that I suspect for many of you who are on the call, you may be first responders or in essential, roles. So you're out, you're interacting with the community. And if you're not, all of us have had to make a grocery run, or we've had to go out, and we're still interacting with other people. And even if it's at 6 feet apart, the question is, are we taking advantage of the opportunity to see each other, to bring each other into existence, especially right now? I mean, if we think about it, we have no idea what people are going through right now. We have some who are still working, they're working at home with their families, with their kids, and that in itself can be a struggle, just kind of adjusting to this, new normal. And then we have others who aren't quite sure where rent is going to come from, how they're going to feed their children. I mean, people are in so many different places right now. How refreshing it is for us just to simply make eye contact, a smile, say hello. We have no idea what an impact that can make, on another human being right now. I mean, I teach this, and I have so many stories that I could share about when I've used it and also when I have not. I'm human, and I'm not always on, and I don't always practice what I should. And I know I just was at Target the other day, and there was a guy working who was gathering the carts, and we just made eye contact really quickly. And in the moment that we locked eyes, he just simply said to me, smile. And in that moment, it was a reminder, like, you know what? Because I was laser focused, and I was going in, I was getting my stuff, and I'm thinking about 6 feet apart and what I have to do when I go home and all this stuff. And just him saying, smile, reminded me, one, not just of what I teach, but guess what it made me do? It made me smile just by him challenging me to do that. So, I think right now is such an important time for us to remember that spirit of oneness. You know, I see you, I see the human being that you are. Maybe I even see a bit of your struggle right now. And I may not be able to solve your problem because we're all in this together, no matter what state you're in, no matter what city you're in, no matter where in the world you are, we're all going through this together. But I see you and I'm here for you if you need me. And while that seems very simple and easy to do, the reality is we know that there are so many opportunities that we miss. We miss opportunities to see other human beings. We miss opportunities to bring others into existence. And by the way, we miss that with the people who are in our own homes at times. You know, I saw a friend of mine post this morning on Facebook that her daughter, she's like in the 11th grade and school has now been canceled for the rest of the year. And she's really struggling with this new way of learning. And what her mom said, I've been so wrapped up in what I've been going through. She's a nurse and going to work. She says, I completely miss the fact that my daughter is also struggling through this. So don't forget to see the people who are in our own homes, in our own lives, who are also struggling. And what a great way just to remember practicing that spirit of oneness, Salbona and Sakona. So, you know, the question here is, what do we miss? How many opportunities do we miss it? And maybe even more importantly, why are we missing those opportunities to bring others into existence? And Dan is going to give you some tips on how we can stay a little bit more focused on bringing others into existence.
Thank you, Chisa. Just a quick reminder too, if you have questions, if you're on the Zoom call, use the chat feature to share some questions, and we'll try to have some time at the end to be able to answer those. If you're on Facebook with us, you know, use the comments there and leave us some questions. And Jocelyn and Becky are watching those for us and will help us with that. So, you know, Chisa, you know, what you talk about, you know, bringing people into existence is so critical. And it's such a challenging time today to be able to do that, because we're also worried about, you know, what this means to us. I was watching a video this morning from one of my favorite authors, David Baldacci. And he said, you know, we're going to get through this COVID-19. We will. But we need to do two things. We need to keep our distance, and we need to come together. And I just thought that was so great. We need to do both of those things at the same time. And so how do we begin to be able to do this with everything that's going on? And this idea of mindfulness and present moment awareness, you know, kind of buzz topic words today that you know, people are talking about, but I think they're really, really critical today to be in that. So before we jump too far into it, you know, there's a lot of different definitions for mindfulness out there, but I'm going to come to it from the lens of John Kabat-Zinn. And he defines mindfulness, present moment awareness, this way. He says it's the awareness that emerges through paying attention. And he says on purpose, we intentionally do it. We look for those opportunities to have that awareness of what's going on around us and how things are affecting others. It's an intention. In the present moment, and everything that's going on in that moment right now. And then he says also non-judgmentally. Well, how often do we judge things? I mean, for adults, it's kind of in our DNA. We judge things all the time. Those of you that are first responders, you know that, you know, oftentimes we're taught to judge things. And we like to say sometimes we need to judge our judgment, you know, but we do that non-judgmentally to those unfolding experiences, because the experiences we are having can be a real opportunity for us to care for the people that we say we love and care about the most. Can be an opportunity to bring a neighbor into existence that's struggling, somebody at the gas station that may be struggling, just simply as saying hi to them. So that's kind of the definition we're going to work off of today. And so this idea of being in the moment, being present, does that mean we ignore the past? Well, of course not. You know, we can learn from the past, but we don't get stuck there. You know, there's many of us that carry, you know, this emotional baggage from yesterday, from a month ago, a week ago, from 10 years ago. We're carrying this around and it just doesn't serve us anymore. Doesn't mean we ignore the past, okay, but we don't get stuck there. Well, what about the future? You know, the future is uncertain in many ways right now. Does that mean we don't need to pay attention and prepare for the future? Well, of course not. We need to be able to do that as well. But again, we don't forget to live our lives today So the future is vitally important to us. But we don't forget to live our lives today, and we don't forget to help others live their lives today as well. So now, really, well, what does this mindfulness really look like when we start to think about it in our day-to-day, activities? Well, let's be mindful in what we're doing in the moment. If we're sitting outside enjoying some social connections, but physically distancing, and somebody that maybe we don't know walks by, just a wave to somebody, something simple like that in the moment that what we're doing. If we're helping our children or our grandkids with some homework, being there right then and not worrying and having everything, the outside world bearing down to us. And in all honesty, something as simple as taking a breath. Sitting in stillness and silence can help us, maintain that mindfulness, being in the moment right now. We can clear out all the clutter that's in our brain and allow us to be right here, right now with folks. And then one of the things I know for me that is just amazing when I can stop and do it is just to listen to the world around me. Listen to the sounds that are out there today. Can help me be here right now, whether that's birds or it's my dog when she's crying, or maybe it's even Carol, my wife, when she's actually talking to me. Maybe I actually listen to her. I listen to the world around me. As the author Peggy Noonan said, we're living through these epic moments in which big things change, and we are. But we need to be here right now. Doesn't mean that we ignore the past, doesn't mean we don't prepare for the future, but we don't forget to live our lives today, because we have to remember tomorrow's promised to no one. Right? Thank you. Howard, all you, buddy.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Thank you, Chisa. And what I would like to do is just I took a few notes as both Chisa and Dan were talking, and kind of pull things back together from the perspective of what I heard them saying, and talk about, again, how do we pull this all together? It's how do we become the best versions of ourselves? How do we quiet our minds and find peace in that quiet? How it is that we pull ourselves in, and this connectivity that we have. Just reaching out beyond ourselves. And that's what I heard them saying, is that this concept of salabona, that I see you, that whether it's family, whether it's our friends. I love how it was said this morning on the news. The governor from New York was talking about something on their emblem for their state, and it was E pluribus unum. Well, we have the same one in our state, on our flag and on our symbol, and it means out of many one. And so how do we become this oneness? How do we, again, take that second look, how it is that we look beyond ourselves? How do we become the best versions of ourselves? Brian Johnson, in one of his segments in Optimize, he talked about this concept about how do we become the best that we can become? And again, the connectivity. And he says the ultimate goal in life, and I love how he says it, is to be able to high five our inner souls, to be able to reach in and touch ourselves and say, how is it that we are? And he speaks of Aristotle's word that he used, the arete, and arete simply meaning our virtues, our excellence. So how do we pull that in, and what does that mean? How do we high five our inner souls? By being our best selves. Brene Brown says joy comes from moment to moment. And in those moments is where we find our joy. And so often we're looking to the outside. I love how Dan spoke of, anxiety and the things that we do in our lives. And again, anxiety, again, doesn't come from thinking about the future. It comes from trying to control it. So again, can we quiet our minds? Can we take that deep breath and just simply find peace in that quiet? We have so many heroes today, and we hear about them, and people talk about the healthcare people, people that typically we didn't look as heroes maybe before. And Chisa talked about, are we looking around to see who's around us, who's touching our lives? But I look at those healthcare professionals and the courage that they have. And I look at the people that are working even in the grocery stores, the people that are wiping down the counters and wiping down the carts. So many, the truck drivers that are bringing the food to our stores these days, and all the other people unnamed that are heroes. And Brian Johnson talked about this as well. He said, the heroes are not what the Greeks, well, the way we look at heroes, the way the Greeks did. He said the Greeks said that the heroes were not those just simply the tough guys or the ones that tried to kill the bad guys, but the heroes were the protectors. The heroes were the protectors. And he said that the heroes have strength for two, and that those heroes, the key components of being a hero was love, compassion, kindness, empathy. He says a hero is just someone who cares. And so as we go forward, can we take that deep breath? Can we just simply see where we are today? Can we take the second look? Can we use Salabona and Sakona as our guide? So how do we use, again, our mindfulness to be present moment? We talked about physical distancing, but social connectivity. So this is kind of where we wanted to go with this. And again, but first take a look at ourselves, how it is that we look at the world, how it is we look at each other. We're on this planet, and this planet becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. So it's not just in our community, but it's in our states, it's in our country, but it's also throughout our world. So let's lean in, let's be strong, let's stay safe, and first take care of ourselves. So Dan, Chisa, any last thoughts that either one of you have before we open it up to any questions that we have for question and answer?
No thoughts. I mean, I would just, maybe throw out a challenge to everyone on the call or listening in to, with intention and mindfulness, really take a moment to bring somebody into existence. Maybe it was somebody you were thinking about throughout the call today, in your homes, or someone that you work with, maybe someone that has lost a loved one already, to all the things that are going on right now. Take a moment to really reach out and see them with intention and mindfulness.
Very well said. Thank you, Chisa. Dan, any last thoughts?
I just want to tell everybody that's here, whether it's on Zoom or on Facebook, thank you for the gift of your time today. I know you're busy. I know there's a lot going on in the world, and for you all to take time out of your day and out of your life to spend with us, we appreciate that very much.
Thank you, Dan. Rebecca, Jocelyn, any questions that you have coming in for us to address?
Just want to thank our master trainers for taking time out of their day to be here with all of us today. You guys did a wonderful job. Thank you. And to remind everyone that we will be monitoring the Facebook post. So if you do have any questions or any comments that you'd like to make, our master trainers will be more than happy to answer those for you at a later date. So again, thank you everyone for joining us today, and be well and be safe.
Thank you, Rebecca. If I could have one last thought, and that is we want to also thank those who participated, but I want to thank you, Rebecca, and also Jocelyn for your work behind the scenes, and also a shout out to Michael Neela, who has given us constant wisdom, constant inspiration, constant drive to be our best selves. So we thank all of you for your contribution to what we do every single day in Blue Courage. So thank you.